Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show, Movies with Ron, the podcast where Ron recaps a movie for me because I like his versions better. Across from me is Rick.
Hello.
Say hi, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
All right. Make sure, if you're using iOS or any of those other apps where you can leave a rating or a review, that's what I like to hear. I love to hear what you think. So, even if you hate us, get on that keyboard and fucking tear us apart. Also, hey guys, we reached 15 episodes.
Hell yeah. What?
Most podcasts, they like celebrate their 10th episode, and I forgot. And I was gonna fix that by celebrating our 14th episode to make it seem like we got past episode 13, which I was gonna pretend is the bad luck episode, and then I forgot that.
Hey, awesome.
So, 15 episodes, all right. I gotta correct something from last week. I became a story snob at the end, and I messed up.
What?
And that's what happens when you become a story snob. When we were talking about The Disappointments Room, I said it was too heavy on story B and too light on story A, when I should have said it was too heavy on the subconscious story and too light on the conscious story. All right, because your story can have an A and a B, but each of those can have a conscious and a subconscious. All right, I'm done with that.
Jesus, dude.
Also, while we're correcting things, I looked up that movie Incarnate. Remember you telling me about that?
Are you about to correct me?
It leads into something good. Is that okay?
I guess we'll see.
So you said it was Thomas Jane in that movie, but it's actually Aaron Eckhart?
Ah, shit. Oh, you know what then? Then it's okay that it sucks.
Yeah, but I just noticed, like, they're fucking separated at birth.
They are, man.
Yeah, like, why haven't they, like, played brothers in a
I
movie
know.
or something like that?
Damn.
And why don't, there's actors that are like that. It's not just these two. They know there's the internet. They know who they look like. Why aren't they, like, getting together and, like, doing shit?
I know, right?
What do you think, Rick?
What other,
Jesus, yeah.
Oh, shit. You know what that just made me think of? Remember when we were kids and we decided what actors would play us in movies?
I remember what actors we wanted to be our dad.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that.
We are dead. What the fuck? We're all brothers, by the way.
Now, when we were kids, we decided that we were each going to make a movie cover about our lives, okay? And we were going to choose an actor that played us, and then we were each going to make our respective covers, okay? But when I said this to Chris, I said, so we each make our respective ones, and then we'll get them all together. And then Chris, like, I guess he misheard me or whatever, and he thought that I meant we were all going to make a cover for one particular movie called Our Respectable Ones. And so his movie cover had all three of us on there, played by different actors, and the movie was called Our Respectable Ones. Who played Rick? Who played you, Rick?
God, I can't remember.
Ah, come on.
All right. I want to say these actors' names so that people can look them up and envision them whenever we're doing this podcast.
What?
Hold on one second. Rick was going to be played by that first space monkey from Fight Club.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy who shaves his head and he's like a monkey going into space.
Yep.
And his name is Eon Bailey.
Oh my God. Thank you.
How do you spell the name Eon?
All right, it might be Ion Bailey. E-I-O-N.
Wow. Confusing.
Why would he spell his name that way?
Probably his agent did that.
Because it's probably just Ian.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Ian.
All right, fix that name, dude. Ron, who are you?
D.B. Sweeney.
Fuck yeah. What was he in?
He was I don't know. He was in Memphis Belle And then he was also in The Cutting Edge.
Oh yeah, that was
The best figure skating movie ever.
I'm gonna have to put these guys. Oh, I wish I
Oh,
could
wait.
find that poster. I could put it on the Instagram.
He was the guy from Fire in the Sky.
Yeah, he was the
Man.
dude who got abducted.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Dude, oh man, I wish that could be my recommendation. I got a different recommendation though. He was in a bunch of shit. Who is me again? Who is gonna play me?
Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, I liked him.
I
He's
do
good.
love Liev Schreiber.
He was the second iteration of Sabretooth.
Yeah, he was a shitty Sabretooth though.
I don't care.
I thought he was better than the first one.
He what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Liev Schreiber is Liev
All right.
Schreiber.
Good job, Liev. Or is it Liev?
Nailed it.
He was also pretty bomb in Phantoms.
Man, I love that movie.
He was in Phantoms?
He was in Phantoms.
Yeah, dude.
All right. It's been like 20 years since I saw that movie.
Oh man, it's on Netflix.
So yeah, when you hear this voice, picture Liev Schreiber, people.
And this is D.B. Sweeney.
And I am Space Monkey number 1.
Space Nut Monkey. Numero uno.
I'm going to hit you with a broom. All right, I want to recommend a movie besides Fire in the Sky, which all of you should go see or download.
Or pay for.
I was browsing Rick's Voodoo account.
I love Rick's Voodoo account.
It's all right. There's not much.
Not much yet.
It's all good, but there's not a lot of to pick from.
Oh my god!
but-
I'm getting feedback from my Voodoo account.
Yeah. Make it public. Everyone can watch.
Shit.
Okay. So I ended up watching 1997's The Postman
Oh, hell yeah.
with Kevin Costner.
Everybody hates it. I love it.
I want everyone to watch that movie.
Hell yeah, dude.
Right after he did Waterworld and got fucking trashed for it,
Oh, yeah.
he went and made Waterworld on land.
Yep.
And that movie's fucking awesome.
It is.
You can
Is
say
it-
what you want about Waterworld, but The Postman is fucking epic.
Dude, it's good.
It's like post-apocalyptic Dances with Wolves.
Yep. With Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, man. You're famous.
You know what I love is how the bad guy, he's not like a big bad guy.
God, I love that guy though.
And
Now
he's-
that, gentlemen,
Oh, yeah.
is a first-rate piece of ass.
Even in the movie, he says like, I used to sell copy machines.
Yeah.
And he looks like a guy who used to sell copy machines.
I know.
But he's like a ruthless Hitler in that
Oh,
movie.
yeah, dude.
He like just took advantage of the end of the world.
Fuck yeah.
Oh man.
And he's like the most lovable character in that movie Armageddon.
Oh
Yeah.
Like you watch that movie, you're like, man, I love that guy.
His last name is Patton. I forgot his first name, but you guys will see because you'll watch it. People hate that it's so patriotic, but I love that about it.
Wait, what?
Dude, yeah,
The
me
Postman?
Oh yeah, I love how it's all about the mail.
Yeah, no.
That's what starts everything.
I know. And like, pride in the flag and shit like that.
And like
those moments.
he gets shot, and it's such a long sequence. It's almost like 45 minutes of the movie. It's like most of Act 2, where he's stuck at that cabin with the woman.
Yeah, healing.
Who has like put him in the friend zone.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And it ends up being this psychological thing where he's too lazy.
Yeah.
And then finally she ends up like,
Fucking burning the cabin down.
yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but then when he comes out, the whole world has changed.
He started something. Yeah. Do you remember Ford Lincoln Mercury?
Yeah.
In that one?
He's the guy who like starts everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I even read the book to that, and that movie is better than the book.
Yeah?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I believe it.
The book is like old-fashioned sci-fi, and there's like robots in it,
Oh, really?
and he got rid of that, and that was a good decision. Yeah.
I think so, too.
So do you guys think a filmmaker could listen to one of our episodes about his film and like learn something new?
I was just thinking that the other day.
Yeah. See, I was thinking like, I like our genuine reactions, and I like the way that makes you tell me the story.
Mm-hmm. I went and I listened to our version of the Disappointments Room. Okay, and here's the thing: is the recap that I give you is like my genuine, average moviegoer reaction. Okay, so I was listening to all the parts that were like all confusing, right? And you were like, "Oh man, I have no idea what's going on," and I was like, "I know, bear with me, right?" But it hit me later that was likely all done on purpose, because as long as we are not sure what is real and what is not, like what's going on and what isn't, we are experiencing the exact same thing that Kate Beckinsale is experiencing in that movie. And this was likely Wentworth Miller's intent. So I thought of that, and I was like, oh man, if Wentworth Miller heard that podcast, he'd be like, dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. If it didn't occur to you, how many people did it occur to?
Right, I mean, first way through. But here's the thing: is like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so it's entirely possible that something flew over my head that didn't most others.
So, I was looking at the Twitter.
Yeah.
Anything going on?
Hell yeah, we got a pretty good compliment from Sammy Sama.
Oh yeah.
And she said, "Movies with Ron, it's a riot, LOL. Gets me through work. Keep it up."
Oh, thank you so much.
I know, right? So, Sammy Sama, this one's for you. Sammy, thank you for listening to this shit. All right, Sammy Sama, thanks a lot.
I know what you mean, though, when you say it gets you through work. Jesus.
Yeah? To get you through work, Rick?
Yeah. Reviewing the episodes. Yes.
You like listening to yourself, Rick?
I gotta be honest, guys, not really.
Imagine editing it. All right, can we cut to the chase here, fellas? Remember that episode of Seinfeld?
No.
Where George is like, can we cut to the chase? And Jerry's like, since when do you say cut to the chase?
Is this you cutting to the chase?
Yeah.
Kalima Shakti Day.
Om Nam Shivai, Om Nam Shivai.
You go to Bangkok Palace and you find Sibilinga and bring back to us. Yes, bring back to us. Bring back to us, yes. Bring back to us, bring back to us.
So, what'd you go see?
I want to see one we've been waiting for a long time. Blair Witch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Hey, hold on a second. This is a movie, the first movie. I believe all three of us went to go see it together.
Well, I went to see it with Candy and Parrish. So...
I remember going with you, bro.
I probably went like 6 or 7 times because I fucking loved that first movie, okay?
Yeah.
I was one of the lucky few who went to see that movie thinking it was real.
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw all of the preliminary interviews that they faked, and then that fake documentary that they made about the town and everything on Sci-Fi Network, okay? Mm-hmm. I saw all of that shit, and I was like, oh my god, you guys, this is real shit. And everybody was like, yeah, cool. Like, nobody else knew any different, right? And then I fucking went to see it, and I was fucking wide-eyed and fucking white-knuckling the entire fucking time, okay? That movie fucking ended, and I was just sitting in my seat. I couldn't fucking move, all right? I could not fucking move a muscle. I was just fucking exhausted, okay? Mm-hmm. From how amazing that was, and I can't believe that this unbelievable shit was actually caught on film.
Yeah.
Okay? And also, next to me, our then brother-in-law was, he was doing the same thing. And then our sister Candy looked at us and said, yeah, it's fake. And I was like, what? By the way, it occurs to me to say, Thomas Jane, I'm sorry. Now for previews, I did see a bunch of horror previews again. I like that this theater that I go to constantly does that. If you're going to see a horror movie, they show you a shit ton of horror previews, if they got them. Yeah. They showed one for Magnificent Seven and then another one for Why Him? But other than that, we saw a big preview to Rings, okay? You know, the sequel to The Ring, which for some, you know, may be the same thing as, you know, Blair Witch is for me.
Yeah.
You know? But also in that preview, I noticed for the first time, because I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, Vincent D'Onofrio is in that movie. And he plays like this old blind guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm blind and I know stuff about the ring. Saw another preview for Ouija, Origin of Evil, but check this out. Now, this movie has looked pretty damn scary thus far, but this preview was bigger and longer, and yeah, fucking scarier.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this movie, oh man, I am hoping it's going to give us a run for our money. Like, it's looking pretty damn good now. I am a little excited about it.
Is it a sequel?
I heard that it is, actually.
Or is it a prequel?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
But it's connected to some Ouija movie that came out?
I think so. I think that
never
movie was
saw
just
that.
called Ouija.
Okay.
Saw another sequel preview, Annabelle 2,
Mm-hmm.
which itself is a prequel. Now, I never saw Annabelle. You guys see it?
Nope.
No.
I've heard that people like it. I don't know. I'll have to check that one out. But the preview looks pretty cool. And then I saw another preview to Hacksaw Ridge. With the Spider-Man kid.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a good one.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Reading articles about it.
Okay, so here we go. Blair Witch on Movies with Ron. You ready, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
So we open up with the Lionsgate logo. Then, just like in the first movie, we get a little blurb that says, like, the following footage was found in the Black Hills Forest outside of Burkittsville, so-and-so, whatever state it's in, okay? And it was comprised mainly of memory cards and DV tapes. DV, for anybody who doesn't know, is digital video.
Oh.
So we get a real quick, you know, almost like you imagine it's a recap of the end of the first movie, and it's somebody, you know, it's all first person because it's all found footage, right? Somebody's running through the house that they found at the end of the first movie. Okay, they're running through it, and you see all the creepy little handprints on the walls, all right? And then there's fucking there you see doors, and somebody is shutting the doors and they're locking them, okay? Like they're running away from something. It's fucking weird. Which actually, as you will find out, sets a precedent for this movie. This is the main difference between this movie and the first movie. By the way, this movie also ignores the events of the Blair Witch Project 2, okay, which sucked fucking balls.
The Book of Shadows?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now, at a certain point in this video, well, it stops, you know, the video's ended, and we find out that it's a video that's been posted online. And this guy's like, hey, did you see her? Did you see her? And this girl's next to her, and next to him, and she's like, well, no, what do you mean? He runs it back, and there is this, like, 1 or 2 frames of this video where the camera passes by, like a hole in the wall or something, and you see this very grainy, very foggy shot of some weird-looking woman. Okay, not all like freaky looking. You know, it's probably not the Blair Witch or anything like that. But anyway, the guy's like, I think that's my sister. I think that's Heather. Okay, so obviously we find out that this is Heather Donahue's brother. You know, Heather from the first movie. She's the only girl in the movie.
Yeah.
And we learn later that this girl that he's showing this video to is, you know, she's in college and she's making a documentary for a class. And what she has chosen to make her documentary on is her friend James Donahue, who was 4 years old when his sister disappeared in the Black Hills Forest outside of Burkittsville. He is going back to the Black Hills Forest to try to find his sister in light of this new video that has just been posted online. And this guy has contacted the guy who posted this new video, and he's like, "Yo, can you show me where you found this tape?"
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, "Yeah, sure." And so they're gonna go out there, they're gonna camp in the woods and shit. They're gonna film everything, and this is gonna be this girl's documentary. Now the cameras that they're using, I don't know if they actually have this now, but they are little earpiece cameras. They all just look like little Bluetooths.
Okay.
Okay? And they give perfect fucking first-person view camera footage, okay?
All right.
The picture is amazing, and, that's it. So
Yeah,
it's not all super grainy like, because now we're in the digital age. So everybody's got a little camera sticking out of their ear, and they also have a drone. Okay? Now, if you're going up against the Blair Witch, right? That's the kind of shit you need.
Yeah.
You know? So then we get a little background story where they talk about how after Heather and the other two guys disappeared and their footage was found, they launched a big giant search, okay? And we see old footage of this search taking place, hundreds of people combing the woods and shit like that. Nobody ever found anything. Certainly nobody ever found the house that they found. So that led the American public to believe that the three of them actually disappeared somewhere else and not near Burkittsville, despite the fact that that's where their footage was found.
Okay.
So James has a best friend named Peter, okay? And Peter's like, yeah, I grew up with him, and Lisa's like, oh, so that means, she's interviewing him for the documentary. So that means you were friends with him, when his sister disappeared. He's like, yeah, that was a really dark time, whatever. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go out and look for the house. And she's like, yeah, so do you believe any of the legends, about the Blair Witch, out in those woods? And he's like, he just kind of doesn't say anything. He's just kind of looking at her. So then, just like, a little bit of the preliminary footage we saw in the first one, we see some of them. And it's the night before they're about to leave, so they all go clubbing, okay? And they're all drinking and shit. It's all inconsequential. And then it's the next morning, and they're about to leave. Before they leave, they test the drone, and she's like, yeah, it can go 100 feet up, blah, blah, blah. So then, the drone, they launch the drone, and we see from the drone's point of view, we can see them from the air. Mm-hmm. So we're like, oh, cool. As the moviegoer, you're like, what I want to see is I want to see that drone go up. I want to see the kids at their campsite, and I want to see some supernatural shit happening like 15 feet away from them that they don't see.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the point of them having the drone in this movie. This is going to be fucking awesome. They also mentioned a few times that their earpiece cameras have GPS, So there's no way that they can get lost in these woods, just like the kids in the first one, right?
Yeah.
The kids in the first one, they're so lost. We're going in circles. And you start to feel so bad for them. You wish you could just come walking into the woods, meet up with them, and you have a backpack full of Wendy's that you could just hand them, And then you could just tell them, hey, guys, you guys have passed this river a couple of times. Really, anytime you get lost, all you got to do is follow a river. Okay, you'll find people.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. So they got walkie-talkies and shit. And so then we get to them. They're driving through a whole bunch of woods, and then they stop at a hotel. And, it's nighttime. They're not there yet. So they all get drunk in the hotel room. Then the next morning, they are officially on the road to Burkittsville, formerly Blair, back in the Salem witch trial times when they were when America had problems with witches.
Yeah.
So then they get to the house of the guy who uploaded the video, and we find out the username of this guy's name is Darknet666, and he lived there with his girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, well, we're both Darknet666, but it's cool, yeah, it's pretty much me. So can you show us where you found this tape? And he's like, yeah, totally, but guess what? We want to go with you. And they're like, whoa. Okay? Because the original kids, it's James, and it's his friend Lisa making the documentary, then his friend Peter, and then I believe Peter's girlfriend, Ashley. Mm-hmm. Okay? So now we have this new couple who is, the Darknet666 username team. And their names are Lane and Talia.
Okay.
So they're like, yeah, man, we really didn't want to bring you with us, and they're like, well, you know what? That's the deal if you want to know where we found the tape. So they pretty much have no choice. So now they're driving, and they're following the truck of Lane and Talia. Lane and Talia, being in a couple of YouTubers, they have cameras of their own, which are just handheld cameras. They're not in their ears or anything like that. So anytime we see from their point of view, it's like old school Blair Witch style.
Okay.
So then they park. They're in the woods, and they park, and then they get out and they start walking. And Peter starts making fun of Lane, and he's like, yeah, I watched a couple of your other videos where you were filming like piles of rocks and shit. So what's up with that shit, man? He's like laughing at him and shit. And Lane's like all fucking fucked up and bothered by him, and he's like, no, fuck you, man. And, we saw the old Blair Witch Project, and piles of rocks
Pretty important.
they're a thing.
Yeah.
Okay? So already we know that Lane might be onto something. And Lane takes this opportunity to tell us, all the childhood stories that, he grew up with about the Black Hills Woods. And he's like, back in the 1940s, there was Rustin Parr, and he's the guy that had that house out in the forest, and he killed all those kids out there, and he's the one that would make them stand in the corner while he would kill the others and shit. And he also said that, it was an old woman's voice that he was hearing that would make him do what he was doing. And then he's like, Talia's like, yeah, they used to do it in the attic, he would stand in the corner, or he would make them stand in the corner and shit like that. And then, you as the moviegoer are like, no. It's not the attic. It's the basement. Okay? I know that for a fact. And then at that point, Lane is like, well, it's actually very unclear at this point, whether it was the attic or the basement. And you as the audience, you're like, it was the basement. Okay? And then he actually talks about this other thing where there was possibly part of the Underground Railroad that was underneath that house. Okay? A little underground network of tunnels and shit. And Peter laughs and he keeps making fun of Lane. And then they see this weird fucking tree and it's all like fucked up looking. And they're like, what does that? And Talia's like, oh, it's when lightning strikes it, it like dries the tree out and it makes it start to bow from the roots upward. And it's all creepy looking, it's just part of the atmosphere. So then they get to this river and Lane tells another story where he's like, yeah, back in the old days, there was this girl who got pulled into the river by this ghostly hand and shit. And it was all scary. And like, whatever. So they're at the river and they're crossing it and it's like cold as shit. And somebody says something about, fucking leeches. And then that girl Ashley is like, what did you say? Fucking leeches, motherfucker? Oh, God. And it's like, it's fine. Just come on. And they're going across the river. And Talia has this private moment with Lane and she looks at him. She's like, are you sure this is a good idea? Us going out into the woods with these fuckheads? And he's like, yeah, totally, it's fine. And then we hear this fucking scream, and then we all look back, because we're all, on the trip with them.
Yeah.
And we see that Ashley has cut her foot on a piece of glass on the bottom of the river. So they stop, and they're like hanging their wet socks up and shit like that, and they're making camp. All the tents are going up, except Peter's, because Peter sucks at setting up a tent, and he's getting all upset, and he's throwing shit around, and he's basically a piece of shit. Because he's, letting it get to him. Rawr! He's like throwing everything like a fucking dickhead. Because he can't understand a tent. And it's getting dark, and Peter leaves to go and get firewood. At that point, they decide to take the drone for a flight. And they send it up, and then we find, we see a really good shot of the forest from above them, okay? And that being seen in a Blair Witch movie is almost unheard of,
Yeah.
They might have done it in the second one, but who gives a shit, right? And it was just really cool looking because it's all steady and shit. Mm-hmm. And, it's like an aerial shot, and it's actually pretty eerie looking. And somebody's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing with the drone?" And he's like, "I'm looking for the house that was in that video, So anything you see on the video, let me know if you see a clearing or something like that, and we'll go check it out. Because still to this day, no one's ever found the house." So then it cuts to nighttime, and they're roasting wieners, over the campfire, and then one of the chicks is like, biting it real slow, acting like she's sucking a dick or some shit like that, and they're all laughing. And we get a little exposition on the Blair Witch and what was done to her from Lane. He's telling a story, and he's like, yeah, they took her out into the woods and they strung her up, and they hung her, they tied her to a tree, and then they left her for dead. But then they came back to get the body away, and it was gone. And then somebody else is like, well, actually, they didn't just tie her to a tree. They actually hung her from a tree, and then they hung rocks from her arms and her legs. And so they were like stretching her out. So really, they hung this woman in like a makeshift rack. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they never found her body. And then after that, people in the township of Blair started disappearing. And then they said, if you see the Blair Witch, you're going to die of fright anytime you actually look at her in the face or anything like that. And then Lane is like, yeah, also they say the curse on these woods, in order for it to have any effect, you have to be here at night. And it's like, whoa, shit, man. So then they all go to bed. And then, of course, while they're in bed, they hear something. All right.
They're all still wearing Bluetooths in bed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, they hear something moving outside, and James is starting to get dressed, and then you hear this boom, fucking loud crash, okay? And it sounds like a fucking tree just fell. It's so fucking loud, okay? Like, it must have fallen right outside of his tent. It was so damn loud. The sound design in this movie was done very well, by the way.
Yeah.
Because in this movie, this type of movie, where it's all found footage, and it's all particular, digital Bluetooth fucking cameras in your ears and shit, the surround sound becomes very important. If something's like making noise behind you in this movie, you can hear it. It's actually really cool. That was very well done. So they get out of the tent, and they're like, oh my God, is everybody okay? And everybody's like, yeah, yeah. And then that girl Talia is like, no, Lane's gone. He's not here. He went to go pee. And he hasn't come back. And James is like, I'll go look for him. And she's like, I'm going too. So Talia and James go, and they look for Lane, and they cannot find him. And they're calling, and they're wandering and shit like that. And then there's a fucking jump scare, and it's fucking Lane coming out of the woods. And he's like, hey, guys, what's going on? Did you hear that fucking noise? Then we cut to Lisa, the documentarian, and she is asleep in bed. And she just hears Ashley outside. Oh, my God, get the fuck out here. Get out here. Oh, my God. She goes out there, and there are those creepy fucking stick people hanging all over the campsite. Somebody has come along and made all these stick figures, these those stereotypical Blair Witch style stick figures.
Yeah.
You see on the cover of the movie and shit like that. They're hanging all over the campsite. And they're like, oh my God, look at what time it is. It's fucking 2 p.m. How did we sleep this long? And they're all like, oh my God, I don't know. What the fuck? And so then you're like, whoa, they're fucking with time in the woods. Mm. And they're like, you know what? Let's fucking leave. Fuck this. And they give up.
That's
and
cool.
They are leaving. Yeah,
like
that is cool. As soon as something started to get a little hairy and a little scary, they just tried to fucking leave. Yeah, they're all like, fuck that. Let's go back to the car. They're like, are you sure? Are you sure you just want to give up on finding your sister? And he's like, this is too fucking weird and scary. Let's fucking leave. So they're leaving, and Peter's being a fucking dick again. And they're going back to the car. He's being a dick to Lane. And they're walking. And as they're walking, Lisa, the documentarian, is asking, she's asking Lane about his camera. What that camera you're using? It's an older style digital camera, But those tapes that you put in it is those are the same tapes, same kind of tapes that as the one that you found in the woods, right? And he's like, oh yeah, it's a very dependable old camera, yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's great. She's walking behind him, and then she sees sticking out of his backpack some twine hanging out of his backpack. And she's like, hey, what's this? She pulls it out. And it's the same twine that was used to hang all of those stick figures.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, hey, what the fuck, asshole? You fucking faked this? You hung all that shit? And they all start flipping out on him and everything. And he's like, oh, God, yeah, okay, we faked it, okay? We faked it, but we only faked it because it's real and we need people to know what's going on. And, he's trying to get people to sympathize with him. Doesn't work. And then they're like, man, that's cool, you faked that, but how the fuck did we sleep in until 2? How did we all sleep in until 2? What, did you fucking put sleeping pills in our water or something like that? And then you look at Lane and Talia, and they get this look like, oh, shit. Like, that's totally what they did. Fucking dickheads.
All right.
So they're like, fuck you, get away from us. Yeah, we're still leaving, but, you're not coming with us. Fuck you. And remember, the main group is the one that has GPS.
Okay.
So Lane is like, hey, you guys, we don't have GPS. We don't know where we are. And he's like, what the fuck, man? You don't know where you are? Fucking, we've been following you, asshole. You were supposed to be our guide out here. Fuck you. Get the fuck. He chases him away like he's going to kick his ass and shit like that. And, like, your fucking camera uses the same tapes. Fuck you, asshole. Fucking, this whole goddamn thing is fake. Okay, none of it's fucking real. Which means the kid, like, even wanting to come out, to find his sister, that whole fucking video was fake. So he's like, fuck. They're all defeated and everything. So they're walking, and they're fucking walking. And some more time goes by, and they're walking and shit. And then we start to see James, and he's looking at the GPS, and he's like, got this look on his face like, hey, I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe he's not working. I don't know. He's looking a little confused.
All right.
And then all of a sudden, they walk through a clearing and they are back in the campsite with all of the hanging stick figures.
Oh.
So they've gone in a big giant circle. So they all start screaming about it and shit like that. And Ashley, remember the girl that cut her foot in the river? She keeps like tripping on her foot and everything, and she's limping around. And they're like, "Fuck it, it's getting dark. We better just camp here again." Okay. And then Ashley's like, "Fuck that shit. Take all those fucking stick figures down, because I don't want to see that creepy bullshit." So they take them all down.
Where are Lane and Talia at this
They
point?
are off on their own.
Okay.
So then they hear a noise. Some fucking Blair Witch Project noises, right? Just noises out in the woods. They're like, "Did you hear that?" And Ashley, it turns out, now has a fever. And Peter is in the tent with her, and he's checking it out. He's looking at the cut on her foot. He was like, and he's unwrapping it, and it looks pretty gnarly. And he's like, "Oh, it looks, it's like obviously like seriously infected." Okay, and he just goes, "It looks a little irritated." Okay, and then something moves underneath the cut, and it's like, "Oh fuck, something's inside of her."
Oh, jeez.
Scares the shit out of Peter. Peter is like, "Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm going outside for a minute." And then he goes out and talks to James and Lisa, and they're doing another drone flight. And Peter's like, "Yo, man, something was moving underneath this shit." And he's like, "All right, well, I'll go check it out." He's like, "Yo, I'll go find some firewood if you'll go and check out her cut, please." So that's happening, and we see the drone cam. There's no road, there's no river, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on here, We should at least see the river, maybe the road even. We should be pretty close. I don't fucking know." And then, the camera on the drone starts fucking up. And the drone starts going down. And then it says, "Signal lost." Beep, 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 beep. And then we can hear the drone crash into the woods somewhere. And she's like, "God damn it." Because remember, it's probably not hers. Probably belongs to her school or something like that.
Yeah.
So then James comes back from checking out Ashley's foot, and he's like, "Yeah, it's totally infected. We need to get her to the closest ER tomorrow as soon as we get in the cars." So then we got Peter, and he's off by himself. He's looking for firewood, and he hears a noise through his walkie-talkie. It's like weird fucking feedback and shit like that. And then his flashlight starts going in and out. Mm-hmm. And then he starts hearing some thum, 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 and it's coming around him and shit. And it's like, whoa, that's pretty close, and that's pretty menacing, because that's obviously something huge taking steps.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you start hearing all these fucking wolves fucking howling off in the, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. And you're like, what the fuck? That's a little scarier than the first movie, At least they didn't have to deal with wolves. Fuck that shit. Then there's this rumbling in the fucking forest, and it's something big, and it's fucking big. And fucking Peter fucking panics, and he starts running, and then, yep, he's being chased by whatever the fuck this thing is, okay? It's fucking huge. The camera turns around, you don't see anything because it's still far enough into the woods to be covered by foliage, But, like, boom, 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 it's fucking chasing him. And he's fucking running and shit. And then a fucking tree falls right on top of him. Okay? So it cuts away. And then we got James, who's out there looking for him. And he finds Peter's flashlight. And he's like, "Oh, shit." And then it cuts back to the campsite. And James had set up a trail cam. You know what that is? Like, hunters use it. They'll, like, set a camera on a tree, and then they'll go home.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. So they can watch later and see, what kind of activity that area has. And through the trail cam, we see Lisa, and she's pacing around the camp. And she walks up to the trail cam, and she looks down into the iPod, and she's watching the trail cam's view on the iPod. There's nothing behind her or anything, because that's what you're immediately looking for, right? Then she turns around, and there's Ashley standing there, and she's all, like, fucked up and feverish, and she's like, "Where's Peter?" And she's like, "Jesus Christ, you're fucking scaring me." And then James shows up and fucking jump scares her again. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" This movie was very heavy on jump scares. Actually, so heavy that at this point, Lisa turns to James and goes, "Jesus, will you guys stop doing this?" Okay, one of the characters actually said it's happening too much.
Yeah.
All right. And he's like, "Yeah, well, I never found him, but check it out. We were listening to that shit, and, that was him out there screaming in the woods, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "Oh, fuck." And they're like, "Okay, well, you know what? Let's just keep the fire going, okay? And, later he'll see it, and then he can come back." Okay. And they're like, okay. So then they're just in the tent together with the tent all zipped up, obviously not tending the fire. Okay. And there's James and Lisa, and then they hear a bunch of sticks snapping outside the tent. And they're like, oh shit. So they get out to go and investigate. And then they're looking around, and then out of the woods comes fucking Lane and Talia. All right? And they are very filthy fucking dirty looking. And Lane is acting all weird, and he's like, what the fuck? Oh no, it's a trick. And Talia's like, oh my God, it's them. Oh, thank God we found them. And then Lane is like, oh, wait a minute, you guys. This is fucked up. And he's talking to the group, and he's like, how long has it been since you've seen us? And James is like, like 3 hours? I don't know. What the hell's going on? And then Lane's just like, Jesus Christ, it's been 5 days! And it's like, oh my God. And then Talia's like, she's like, I want to stay with them. And Lane's like, nah, fuck that. It's a trick. Fuck it. No, we're leaving. And Talia looks at the group. She's like, do you guys have any food? And then, Lisa throws her granola bar or something like that. And then Talia's like, I want to stay. And Lane's just like, fuck you then. I'm leaving. Lane runs off into the woods. Leaves his girlfriend there with the group. So Lisa takes Talia over to the campfire. And she's like, okay, it's fine. We're just going to sit here. And warm up at the fire. It's okay. And Talia just starts fucking eating this granola bar or something like a starving kid, right?
Yeah.
Fucking inhaling that shit. And then we see Lisa in bed, and she's just fucking staring off into space, and she looks over at James. She's like, I can't sleep. I totally can't sleep. Can you? And he's like, no, me neither. So then the camera keeps cutting in and out. It's like they'll turn them off when they're like, about to go to sleep or whatever, but anytime they hear a noise, they'll turn them back on.
Yeah.
So it comes back on, and the phone buzzes, and okay.
You got some good sound design going on, Ron.
All right, good. And so Lisa's like, yeah, well, this is fucking weird. I set the alarm for 7 a.m., but it's still so damn dark outside. And they go out into the campsite, and now, if you thought that the campsite was full of hanging stick figures before, oh man, that was nothing. Now this fucker is really fucking full of them. And now they're like huge ones. Some of them are like made out of logs.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. They're big, too. Oh, man. This fucking creepy looking and shit. And they all start flipping out. So like, oh, my God, no, let's check the trail cam. Obviously, we'll use the trail cam. And we'll see what the fuck happened. Goes up to the trail cam. Oh, the battery's dead. We can't check it. So Talia, then Talia shows up, and she's like, we have to go. And she looks all fucking crazy and shit. And Ashley's all weak, and she's freaking out, and she's like, oh, God, this is all fucking scary and shit. And then we turn around, and we see Talia, and she's holding one of the stick figures, and she's like, oh, my God, because Talia, by the way, has slightly purple hair. Okay, and she's like, my hair. They took my hair. Look at this. And there is slightly purple hair woven into this particular stick figure, okay, with all the other twigs and twine and shit like that. And Ashley's like, fuck you, fuck that shit, you fucking did all this shit, fuck you, give me that shit. She fucking takes the stick figure away from Talia, fucking snaps it in half, and then right then, fucking behind her, the camera turns around and we see what just happened to Talia, and Talia fucking snapped in half. Talia snapped in half backwards.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Right then, quick as shit, just as quick as Ashley broke the figure. It was fucking great.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. That was a great fucking scene. Just all on the ground, just like you took her and you just fucking snapped her in half with your hands. It was fucking crazy.
Oh, man.
Okay? So then they're all, fuck, oh my God, fucking Talia. Holy shit, fuck. And then Ashley's tent, which is yellow, just fucking flies up into the fucking air. Like something reached down and grabbed it and shit and just fucking flung it upwards. And then they all just fucking total panic, and they all just start fucking running. And they're just running, and they're fucking screaming, okay? And then all of a sudden, the fucking tent, which is still basically set up, just fucking slams down on the ground in front of them. And then they all start running off in separate directions, so they get separated. After that, we see that James and Lisa actually ended up, in the same area. So they're together, and Ashley is alone, and she's limping along. She's limping because her foot's all fucked up. And she goes and she finds this log to sit down on, and she starts checking out her leg. And now, instead of the bottom of her foot just being bloody, now there's blood like all up her leg, right? And you're like, what the fuck? So she like pulls up her, her pant leg, and she's looking, and yeah, something something is, sticking out of her leg and it's bleeding and shit. And she's touching it. It's all tender and gross and shit. She fucking pulls it. There's a weird little thing. It's sticking out, okay, of a wound. She pulls on it and then it starts like foaming and shit. And then it sucks back in like it doesn't want to be pulled out, okay? And she's like, oh my God, fucking freaking out. And then she fucking just pulls it out. And it's like big and long. Like I thought it was like twigs or roots or some shit. I was thinking about that old movie, The Ruins. Heather thinks, though, that it was a bug or maybe a leech because somebody mentioned leeches while they were at the river. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she just flings it off into the forest. And we never get to learn anything else about what was in her leg. That's the shitty. That's one of the shitty things here. Okay, there's a few unanswered questions with this movie. Yeah. So then we cut to James and Lisa, and they're alone, and they end up circling back, and they find that yellow tent that fell in front of them. And then all of a sudden on the radio, you hear some guy talking, and he's like, "Holy shit, it's fucking Peter!" And then they're like, "Yeah, holy shit, Peter, where are you? Where are you? Fuck, man. Tell us where you are. Just click on the radio. If you can't talk, just click the button." You don't hear shit then. Then we got this weirdness, right? And I say weirdness because it was very confusing. There was it was almost as if like some sort of EMP went off or something like that. Mm-hmm. Because at this point we can't even hear our own actors that are talking to each other right in front of each other. We see their mouths moving, but we can't really hear them. We can sort of hear them. It's faint. It's pretty far away sounding. But, after that, it kind of goes away, and James is like, okay, you need to calm down because you're freaking out. And she's like, okay, I'm calm. And so now she's calm, and they just start fucking walking. You could tell that part of the movie was just maybe some freaky filler, that they needed to just fill some time up with.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Ashley, and she's walking through the woods. She's by herself, and she finds, oh, what's that up in that tree? The drone. Mm-hmm. Okay, and she's like, "Oh fuck, perfect." When she pulls out her iPhone, and apparently she can also control the drone from her iPhone. So she's looking at the camera view from the drone that's stuck in the tree, and she's like, "If I can get that drone out of the tree, I can send it up, and I can figure out where I am, and then I can fucking leave and get the fuck out of here." So she starts climbing the tree, and it is real fucking high. Okay, she's way the fuck up in the air. And she's trying to reach for it. It's just out of reach, okay? It's sitting there buzzing like it's trying to take off. Like, zzz, zzz. It's got these fucking little propellers that are spinning and shit like that. I'm like, man, this girl's going to stick her hand down. Something's going to happen. And, it's going to chop her fingers off or something like that. I don't fucking know. So she's almost got it. She's almost got it. And then she fucking falls. And she's fucking hanging by a branch, right? Her feet are hanging down. They're dangling over like fucking 100 feet in the air up at the top of this tree. And then, oh, she finds her footing. Okay, she gets her footing back. And, she's standing there. And she's, okay, that's it. This time I'm gonna reach out for that drone. I'm gonna get that shit. And she's reaching out. She's just about to get it. And then something fucking flies into frame and fucking hits her right out of the fucking tree. And then we see from her point of view, because before that we saw from the drone's point of view, and we could see actually her face reaching for it. And then something fucking hits her. And then we just see her point of view, and she's just fucking falling to the forest floor. Just falling through all the branches and shit, just like in Jurassic Park, fucking 5,000 feet in the air in this fucking tree, hitting all the branches on the way down, and then boom, she just fucking slams on the ground. Obviously, her fucking ear camera fell out because we can see her feet in front of us, and then all of a sudden, they just get dragged out of frame.
Ah, okay.
So then we cut to James and Lisa, and they can hear her screaming, okay, off in the distance, so they start running, okay, and they're running, and it's fucking raining, and they're running, they're looking for her, they hear the screams, and then they fucking, what do they find? Oh, boom, they run into the house. Okay, they find the house in the dark, and James is like, oh my God, it's the fucking house. This is it. This is where my sister is. And then he looks up into the window, and in the window on the top floor of the house, somebody is looking out of the window at him with a fucking flashlight. And it's like, oh, and then as soon as it sees that they see it, it like runs away. And so he's like, that's her. It's fucking Heather. And like, he is convinced that Heather has been living in this house ever since. Okay. And now she's like some weird old bag lady living in the forest. And so he's like, I gotta go find her. And Lisa's like, nah, man, don't. This is all fucked up. It's all fucking scary and shit. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he's like, I have to know. I have to find her. So he enters the house. And he's exploring and shit. And it's all fucking derelict and fucking run down and fucking gross looking. All right, he's going up the stairs. He keeps trying all these different doors. All of them are locked, okay? You know, he sees all those creepy little kids' handprints on the walls and everything. And he's like breathing real hard. Okay? And then he finds a door and he opens it up. And he can hear some whimpering, right? And he's like, and then he looks off into the corner. And there's Peter standing in the corner, okay? Just like that guy at the end of the first one.
Yeah.
And he's like, Peter, holy shit. And then he fucking, the door slams behind him. Boom. And he turns around and he looks, and then he fucking opens it up to see who slammed it. There's nobody there. He turns back around, and Peter's gone. So he starts running back through the hallways to look for whoever slammed the door. And he's like, Heather! Heather! And he's running. And then he actually fucking sees somebody in front of him. That like he like turns a corner, and then he sees down at the end of the hallway, and there's somebody fucking standing there, and they just run. And they go around the corner, they disappear real fucking quick. And he's just like half a second behind them, and it's maddening, okay? And he keeps moving, he's moving around. Then he finds this fucking room, and it's got like it's got a mattress in it. It's got this old shitty looking mattress. And he's like, oh my God, you know? And he's like, Heather, she's here. And he's looking around, and then we keep seeing like little cuts of this weird looking shadowy woman walking around the room, and you're like, holy shit, Heather is a bag lady living in this house. That is fucking crazy. Or you know what? Here's what I thought. I was like, holy shit, Heather became the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Ah, wow. Now that would be fucking awesome, right? So, you know, he keeps sort of seeing her, and he's looking for her, and, you know, she's just constantly just a little bit out of his reach. Then, you know, that door slams shut, and he's trying to open it. He can't get it out. And then we cut to Lisa. And she's still outside the house, and it's raining balls, okay? And it's raining, and she's looking, and she looks out into the woods. And for the first time in the Blair Witch franchise, we see something.
Uh-huh.
And there is a fucking creature out in the woods that's like peeking out from behind a fucking tree. Looks like something you'd see on one of those scariest footage ever recorded on YouTube shit, you know, where it's obviously fake.
Yeah.
And there is this gigantic fucking tall thing out there in the woods with these super long legs and these super long arms fucking looking at her, and then it just like ducks behind a tree.
Oh.
And you're like, whoa, shit. All right, we are in for something. I don't know what the fuck this is. That looked like some kind of a weirdo fucking mutant. Maybe we got some, you know, The Hills Have Eyes shit going on.
Yeah.
But, all right, we're getting a little bit more now than we ever got in the Blair Witch. So she's like, she fucking screams, because that shit was fucking otherworldly looking, and she just fucking runs into the house, okay? Now it's okay. Now she'll go in the house, because that fucking weirdo's outside. So she goes inside, she's calling for James, okay? And she's fucking looking, James! She can't fucking find him. She's just running through this fucking house, running up and down stairs and shit, and then she gets to the top of the basement stairs. Okay? Now, for us, you know, fans of the first movie, this is iconic, you know? This is a moment in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, because James was running around the other parts of the house and shit, and Lisa has just found the basement. The basement in the Blair Witch movie is a character all of its own, right? So she fucking hears a noise down there, and she goes down to investigate it. And she's down there, she doesn't see anybody, and then she turns around, and then this fucking guy, he's like right there in her face, and it's fucking Lane, okay? And Lane is there, and he has got this big, giant fucking bushy beard now. Like he has been out there, like it looks like he's been out there for like a year, or like months at least, okay?
Yeah.
He's been lost. Okay? It's only been like a day or two since she's seen him last. And he's like ranting and raving, and he's like, no, I know what I have to do now. I have to do everything that she says. And he fucking knocks Lisa down to the ground, and then he's fucking pushing her, and then he opens up this fucking trap door in the bottom of the basement, which has a fucking tunnel underneath it, and he fucking pushes her down into it and slams the door shut and locks it. Oh. And she's fucking stuck down there in the dark, okay? Now, Lisa, in addition to her ear cam, okay, she's also holding a handheld camera, and she's using it for the light, okay? But it's still recording. And she's in this little, this tiny little room, and she looks on either side of her, and it's just fucking tunnels that go off. And the tunnels are very, very narrow, And they're not lined with wood or anything. They are just fucking dirt tunnels. They're all covered in roots and shit. And they look like something that you would never fucking go into. Like, nope. I'd rather sit here and die.
Yeah.
Okay? But God bless her, she fucking gets into one of them and she starts fucking going. And it's all dry and dusty and shit. And it's all fucking narrow and claustrophobic and shit. And she keeps fucking going. And then it starts to get wet. Like now now it's starting to be full of water. And so it's all muddy and shit. And she's like, oh God. And then we keep switching between the view from her ear cam, which just shows what's in front of her. And then the handheld cam, which now shows her face, which is because it's pointing at her. Uh-huh. And she's all crying and freaking out and shit. And then she gets stuck in this fucking muddy tunnel and shit. And she's fucking freaking out and shit. And she totally fucking panics, right? And then, it takes a little while, but she finally calms down. And she's like trying to like get her bearings and shit. Okay, how the fuck am I going to get out of this? I'm stuck. And she fucking hears fucking noise behind her. And like, and she starts fucking freaking out. She knows there's something fucking behind her. It's fucking coming through these tunnels. And guess what? They're probably not tunnels. They're probably fucking burrows for some fucking weird shit. And it's coming after her. So she starts freaking out and she gets unstuck and she fucking goes forward. And she's crawling faster and faster. And she looks up above her and she finally sees some wood. And it's the floor from the house above her, okay? She actually pulls out a knife that she has, she unfolds it, and she starts fucking stabbing at it. It's all rotten and shit, so it actually gives way from being stabbed with a knife. Mm-hmm. She breaks through and gets up in there, and now she's back up in the basement. And she can hear whatever is down there is coming up through those tunnels that's coming to get her. She starts trying to push this big box over the hole that she just made and shit, and then she gets fucking attacked by Lane. Okay, who's like, rah, 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 rah. He's all fucking crazy now. She just turns around, stabs him right in the fucking throat, and then he just chokes on his own blood and fucking backs away and dies. Poor Lane, man. He was stuck out there for God knows how long from his perspective.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So while she was stabbing Lane, she stabs him and she turns around and she had gotten the box over the hole, but it doesn't matter because whatever was coming after her fucking came up through that box. And so the camera just fucking shakes and flies around and shit. We don't see what came up. And she's fucking running. She turns around and then we see for a second and it's that big fucking just a second, okay? Maybe half a second. That big long-limbed fucking monster that was outside. Mm-hmm. That's what's chasing her. So she fucking runs. And then finally she goes up into she's just going up. Upstairs. She ends up in the attic, all right? And then she runs into James. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't know. We're fucking scared. Holy shit. And then they hear all this noise outside. It's like, and then we see a whole bunch of light from outside is now shining into the attic from every crack in the outside of the house. And it's just beams of light shining through these cracks. Something that looks oddly like some sort of UFO encounter. Yeah. Okay. And you're like, what the fuck? Whoa, what's going on? And they're just fucking staring into the light like it's mesmerizing them or some shit. And they're freaking out. And they're like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck? And then James is just like, holy shit, get in the corner. And she's like, what? And he just runs and he goes and just stands in the corner of the attic. Like one of the kids from the 1940s or like one of the other guys that have died in the house or something like shit. And she fucking runs and she joins him in the corner. And he's like, you gotta get in the corner because if you look it in the eyes, you fucking die. If you don't look it in the face, you don't look it in the eyes, it can't hurt you. And she's like, oh my God. And we just see from their camera's point of views, they're just like looking at the wall in front of them or looking down and they're both crying and shit. And you can hear that this fucking monster is in the room behind them. And it's like lumbering around the room.
Yeah.
Okay. And then James, he's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Lisa. I didn't mean to get you into this, I'm so sorry. And then she's like, what? Yeah, oh my God. And he's like, close your eyes. So she's got her eyes closed, she's crying and shit. And then she just hears James go, Heather? Is that really you? And then he turns around and just gets fucking snatched out of the way. Okay? We don't actually see what happens to him, but he turned around, he looked the thing in the face, and he fucking got killed for it. Oh. So, fucking Lisa realizes that happened, so she resists the temptation to turn around, all right? And she's like, oh my God, fuck, James, what? You know, and so she, you know what? She's still holding that other camera. Okay. So she holds it up and she turns it backwards. So she's filming behind her, but she turns the viewfinder around so she can see what she's filming. So now we see behind her, and then behind her, and only just for a second, we see that giant fucking long-legged, long-armed monster. And it sees what she's doing, and it fucking jumps out of the way again. And she's just like, oh my God, oh my God. And she's freaking out. She fucking screams and shit. And then it's gone. She can't see it. So she starts, and she says out loud, she's like, if you don't look it in the eyes, it can't hurt you. And she just starts walking backwards, like she's going to try to walk out of the house.
Yeah.
And just use the camera to get out. And she's walking, she's almost to the door, to the stairs, to leave the attic. And then she hears James. And James says again, I'm so sorry, Lisa. I'm so sorry I got you into this. And she's like, James! And she fucking turns around and then fucking gets hit and dies. The fucking camera's laying on the ground.
Uh-huh.
And then the credits roll. And that's it, guys. What the fuck?
There's no witch?
No witch.
Is the long-limbed creature supposed to be the witch?
It is. I stuck around, I read the credits, and there's only like the 6 people in the movie, okay? And then the other person that's credited is the Blair Witch stunt double.
Oh.
So, yep, that was the Blair Witch. So what the fuck, man?
All right.
Like Adam Wingard, okay? He was our knight in shining armor for this fucking movie, guys.
He's never proven himself.
But he still had such potential with all that VHS shit.
Yeah. It sounds like from what you're describing, he did a good job of like upping the ante for a Blair Witch sequel.
Just barely, though. Like, I gotta tell you, like, he did up the ante. Like, here's what he did. He updated the Blair Witch, okay? Because it was, in effect, the same exact movie, but with some slightly freakier shit. That thing with
And
Talia,
more money.
with Talia getting snapped in half,
Yeah.
that was the best thing in that movie, man. That thing was fucking amazing. That scene, holy shit, that was cool.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, you know, we saw this monster, you know, but literally only for, like, split seconds at a time. And we only saw it, like, 3 times. Man, I wanted to see the fucking Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Okay? I wanted to see some full-on fucking action there. And it was time, dude. It has been 20 years. Okay, if you're going to bother to fucking make a sequel, you better fucking come with it. And, man, he didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He did. Dude, it was a decent movie to watch, okay? But it was not what a fan is fucking looking for. It was a remake, basically. I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying?
What is this creature wearing clothes and shit?
No, it looks like it's naked. And it does look like it's got like a Caucasian, tan skin tone. It's not like green. It doesn't look like it's made out of trees or anything like that. And it occurred to me later that this is the point of them bringing up that story earlier on where they're like, they didn't just tie her to a tree. They hung her from a tree and they stretched her out with rocks. So now she's got long arms and legs.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. You think that's the connection there?
That has got to be that connection.
That's dumb.
Right? That is slightly dumb.
That is really dumb.
McFarlane, Todd McFarlane, he actually designed a figure, a figurine, a toy of the Blair Witch after the first movie was released. Totally given the fact that we never saw the Blair Witch in the first movie, but he gave his idea of what the Blair Witch would look like. And it's weird because she was fucking scary looking in his version, but she looked like she was made out of mossy trees. And it was very creepy looking. Mm-hmm. That is what I wanted it to be, or something like that. Now, all of that stomping around that you kept hearing in the movie, because this movie, it's all about being chased, okay? Now, that's something that Adam Wingard has said. Okay, he's like, the first one was about looking for something, and this one is about being chased by something. That is what he has said, okay? Yeah. And that is true. But the way it sounds like it is a giant tree monster stomping around. Uh-huh. Okay, so that's actually halfway what I was expecting. I'm totally okay with it not being a tree monster. But you know what? It's bullshit. We didn't see a full-on confrontation with either the Blair Witch or fucking Heather, you know?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother fucking unanswered shit, you know?
You know what the Blair Witch sounds like?
Huh.
Sounds like Slender Man.
That is actually when
You know
you
who
search
Slender
for
Man
it.
is?
Yeah, when you search for Blair Witch images, because I did, because I wanted to see, I wanted to see a still frame photo of what I saw, and there wasn't any. But one of the key words in that search was Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Slender Man?
A little bit.
Yeah. What's the deal with that anyway?
Okay. I have no idea. I have no idea who Slender Man is. I went onto the App Store, and there was like a teaser version of a game, and I played it.
Yeah.
Slender Man is like completely stark white, long legs, long arms, in a suit with a red tie.
In that game?
In that game, so far as I've gathered. But it is in the woods, and it is slightly terrifying, because you cannot look at him.
Yeah, that's the whole thing of Slender Man.
Oh, really?
Which came about, the internet invented Slender Man,
All right.
and it's become a cultural thing.
Well, here we go. Educate
among
me.
millennials.
Okay.
It started out like on a message board, and if you look at Slender Man, he comes after you, which seems like Blair Witch. But yeah, in the internet lore, he's wearing a suit, which also makes me think of fucking Conjuring 2 with that fucking dude with the umbrella.
The Crooked Man.
Yeah, it seems like Slender Man is just in too many people's consciousness too much.
Maybe a little.
But
This thing was walking around. It was weird looking, man. It did remind me of that thing at the end of Quarantine that was walking around, which was actually just a person that was all super emaciated.
Yeah.
But it did remind me of that, or like the cover of that movie, like Grave Encounters 2. But like I said, you literally only see this thing for like a fleeting split second at a time. Like if you want to see what this thing looks like, you're gonna have to buy the DVD and pause it.
That scares the shit out of me, by the way.
Yeah.
People that, like, they're too fucking long. They're too weird looking.
People too long.
I don't know. Like the Grave Encounters thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
And the other thing that's probably even more scary. This is a weird thing, guys. Do you remember that painting? Somebody made it. The painting called The Scream?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a woman holding her head, and her mouth is wide fucking open.
Yeah.
Inhumanly wide. Because, like, I keep looking at that, and it's a little bit mesmerizing. And then I see replications of that in film, and it's terrifying to me.
Oh, wow.
I do not like wide fucking open mouths.
Screaming?
Like it's not supposed to be that
Oh,
wide.
man, that's cool.
That's way too weird. But no way.
That's cool. That's good to know.
And that's why that movie freaks me out.
All right.
yeah, people are saying it's a beat-for-beat remake,
Yep.
and it relies on trashy jump scares.
Yep. Absolutely. There was way too many jump scares.
Still, from what you described, I still liked parts of it.
I liked a lot of parts of it, man. Like, this movie had so much potential. Like, me and Heather were leaving the theater, and I was like, I want to like this movie so fucking much, babe. And she's like, yeah. You could tell she, like, kind of didn't. Like, she was disappointed. And I was like, all that shit with the girl getting snapped in half. And Heather loved that. She conceded on that one. She was like, yep, that was badass. Okay. Mm-hmm. But, like, damn it. It was time to see something more.
Yeah.
Okay? It really was. And Adam Wingard, you had a responsibility here, man. And you did partially fulfill it, but I am sorry, man. You did kind of let me down. Okay? So, whatever you do next, fucking do better. Okay?
I think I like it more because I didn't see this through a found footage version. I just heard your version.
So you actually got it in like a third person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Good job, Ron.
There you have it. The Blair Witch on Movies with Ron.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Movies with Ron.
Ah.
So what had happened was I was like, oh man, some asshole just ran over this possum, and this possum didn't die, and he has just now gotten up and was trying to figure out how to live now.
Ah.
So I stopped,